coming to you live from the studios of 1108 in the suburban areas of Baltimore, Maryland. This is No Filter Sports Clubhouse. Thanks to Rihanna and Where Have You Been? Yeah, we've been trying to get this thing going, and hopefully, where have you been trying to enjoy that debacle of a Thursday night game between the there should be Kansas City, but Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Atlanta Falcons. And last we heard is the Falcons are kicking ass 28-0, and they're still trying to score. So hey, if you are bored with the NFL crap, come to us here at No Filter Sports on WLLSradio.com. Stand by. There's some crazy turbulence in the area, but we have another voice in the building.
What up, man?
This is Tig from Open Mic Radio. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm all right. I can see you're in
my full
12 man gear.
Yes, my war paint.
Without the exact war paint.
Yes. I am in my world champion Seattle Seahawks attire.
Well,
yes,
they didn't play like world champions this past Sunday.
You know what? The thing on the side of my hat says Super Bowl champions, so
right.
We're gonna stick with that.
Okay.
And you have to unseat the champion.
Okay, beat a man. You got to beat the man.
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly. So
Woo!
I'm the champion until February.
All right. Well, tell us. Actually, you're involved in something very good with old Mike B. Tell us about that.
Yes, sir, man. I'm co-host the Open Mic Radio show and podcast on WLLS Radio. Mike Brown at Mike Brown, Michelle Mybell. We got Michelle sometimes, and we also have Atlanta scoring again.
I think they're going to try to break a Thursday night record.
Like I really like if this was like Pee Wee football, they would have just cashed it in.
True.
They would have been like, you know what? Let's just turn the scoreboard off.
Yes, so that everyone gets a chance.
Yeah,
make them all happy.
Let's just pass out some
some
Lunchables, a couple Capri Suns.
Yes, get those orange slices.
Get those orange slices, and let's just pack it up.
Yes.
You know, Dad's got to work in the morning. But yeah, Open Mic Radio show with Michelle sometimes, and Mike B. That will be back October 4th, 2 p.m. Please tune in.
Yes, 2 to 4. Actually,
yes,
you are involved in open Old Mike B's stand-up.
Yes, sir.
Coming October 19th.
October 19th, sold out show.
Great.
Live DVD taping is going to be awesome. We got Dayla Banks on the bill. We got Greg Stevens on the bill. We got Michelle sometimes, and of course our headliner Mike Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Old Mike B. It's going to be an awesome night. It's going to be crazy. You're just going to laugh or poo.
Or watch
maybe simultaneously.
Or watch the Buccaneers Falcons game.
Yeah. which one side is doing one thing right now and the other side is doing the other.
That's true.
Yes.
Anyway,
a lot of poo-poo in Tampa Bay now.
Sorry, Lovey. Anyway, we got a lot to talk about, especially AVP, as I like to call him, Adrian Peterson and his new drama.
Dude.
And but it's like, okay. We were talking about this before the show started, how how the media is sort of like distracting us with this stuff.
Yeah.
And, early today, Jonathan Dwyer of the Arizona Cardinals, he's been deactive by the team. And also been, and if I remember correctly, Adrian Peterson and one of the
Greg Hardy.
Yeah, Greg Hardy of the Panthers. Yeah. It's been put on this exempt list by the commissioner. So meaning that they are not playing this week, but they're going to get paid.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like,
that's $11 million
so
this year for AP.
I'm going to look in these two aspects. First, the Adrian Peterson thing. Now, recently there has been a new development. Mm-hmm. He abused his kid before, where he was driving and he had to do a sudden stop and he actually hit his head on the dashboard.
Are you doing those air quotations
the
right
quote,
now?
Nice little quote air.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this is like the typical news media timeline of exposing someone of some particular act where they find one thing and next thing they're trying to find other things.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, mind you, he did extensively abuse, not abuse. I'd say he got a whooping. He gave that kid a whooping. We'll talk about that later.
Yes.
And then it gets to, okay, he abused them before, and then next thing we're going to find something else. And then next, he's going to be banned for a year. Yeah. And then next thing he's like, he can't find a job.
It's like finding Kim Kardashian's black book or diary.
The diary.
Yeah.
They're both the same thing.
Exactly. It's like, you did with who?
Shoot, you got here Ray J twice.
Oh my God. What does that star next to his name mean?
Kanye hits his head on a pole again.
Exactly.
So I view this as like, okay, like I said this weeks before, is like, what is TMZ's end game? Because pretty much now, what TMZ did to Ray Rice is kind of like now how the news media nowadays is doing. It's overexposing something that I really think has always been hidden in society, but you're trying to expose it in football.
Okay. It always goes back to the money. So let's just be honest what TMZ is doing with the Ray Rice and the Adrian Peterson story. They're trying to drive site traffic so they can get those clicks, so they can get those advertiser dollars.
True.
Let's keep it real. They don't really care about Roger Goodell and should he get fired or shouldn't he get fired. They don't care about any of that stuff. They want those clicks. And that's what it's about. TMZ just wants the drama. They're like that bad ex-girlfriend that you're just trying to get away from.
Right.
She's nothing but trouble.
Right.
Leave. So, with that, were all those players, especially Jonathan Dwyer, oh my God. Did you read the story?
No,
he was doing his best Sagat impersonation by headbutting his baby's mom. Yes. What the heck is going on with that? Who headbutts?
Besides wrestlers,
who's close enough to somebody in an argument to say, you know what, I'm gonna headbutt you? Like, what thought? He must have thought he had his helmet on.
Well, I think that. Well, let's. I remember you guys on open mic kind of briefly talked about this in connection to Stephen A. Smith's comments.
Yeah,
and it's gotten to that point where now, I think that ever since Goodell made that reevaluated statement of changing the policy from 2 to 4 weeks to now 6 weeks to life. Yeah. Suspension. And I'm like, okay. And where Stephen A. Smith put in, hey, there's a point in time where you just don't provoke this dude. Yeah. Or a person. I don't want to say this is a dude, just a person in particular. Yeah. I think now NFL players are targets, or any professional player is a target, because they're going to be in situations and scenarios where they have to they react to something, and it's like they're definitely not going to be able to get out of. We still haven't fully heard about Ray McDonald's situation yet.
Oh man, that police report is
how bad is it?
It's not good. It's not good.
So the truth.
Hold on, one word. Tarantino. Yeah. Like, it's what's weird, the back end of all this stuff, looking from the high overview of all this stuff. Who really loses out in this?
Who?
Drunk men.
How so?
Because you get a 6-game suspension for getting a fight with your spouse, a domestic argument. You do it again, you're gone for life.
Right.
What happens to that? Who's looking out for that guy, that little guy that's trying to impress his girlfriend in the bar by trying to punk a football player? Who cares about his teeth? Like, where's the suspension for him? Like, where do you go with that? I mean, that's terrible. Like, where are these football players going to take that frustration out?
That's true.
They're going to go, you know what? Girl, you tripping. Where are we going to go? Straight to the bar. What's going to happen at the bar? I'm going to drink. I'm going to get angry. And I'm going to hit somebody that I know will only cost me half a paycheck.
That's true. See, logic, people. There's logic here on Open Mic Radio and No Filter Sports. Yes. But anyway, let's get back to Adrian Peterson.
AP.
And I've been whooped before.
Yes.
You've been whooped before.
Not at 4.
Not at 4.
4. Not at 4.
Okay.
Like, okay. And that's okay. Like, you know what? I'm cool with the whoopings thing. Mm-hmm. But make it like, what are you getting out of whooping a 4-year-old? Like, how many people remember age 4? So how do you remember what you did wrong at age 4?
But it sets in you.
It does not. What did you do at 4?
There's a lot of things.
You remember age 4?
To a blur. But
Exactly. It's just you know what? And that switch is really going to be a blur.
True.
So I'm just saying, age 4. I mean, there should be
scars will live forever.
There should be a cutoff. Like, have you ever sat down and had a conversation with a 4-year-old? No, because they don't know what you're talking about half the time. 4-year-olds, like, I believe in punishment. I believe in whoopings, but it should be at a kid that understands and can connect the whooping with the cause and effect. Mm-hmm. That's what I mean. Like a 13-year-old, if they were like, oh, he whooped a 13-year-old, I'd be like, awesome. That 13-year-old probably did something. Mm-hmm. And he understands, he knew better. But a 13-year-old, a 4-year-old, what can a 4-year-old do that can make you lash them? Like lashes. Like, I'm talking Solomon Northup.
Right. But okay. If you think about it, think about how I'm going to the viewpoint of Adrian Peterson.
Okay.
Like he said before, he was like, hey, I had whippings when I was a kid at that age.
Okay.
I feel like it is a lesson. There is a lesson learned.
But Brian, at the same time, we also used to dig holes and poo in them. And then toilets were invented.
True. But there are times where sometimes talking to a 4-year-old is impossible.
Yeah,
but even though they're 4, but
yes.
We know if anyone hasn't fully read into the story, the reason why Adrian Peterson, quote unquote, whooped his kid was the fact of him, the 4-year-old, beating down on, I believe, his younger sibling who was like 3 or 2.
Yeah.
So, and it got to the point where, hey, a simple talking to, wasn't suffice. So he said, hey, go get a switch.
Why is that the jump? Can you, like, we're grown men right here sitting at this table.
Right.
I'd be scared of a pinch from Adrian Peterson. Why? How did we get there? Like, what was all the...
Again, the other, I know he's saying it's a major leap, but
yeah.
One, he's from the South.
Yeah.
And that's another mentality altogether.
Yeah.
Because that they literally, that's where they get the term. It's like, get your switch. Because that's...
No. I remember the switches.
Yeah. So, but the thing is like, hey, I said this first time when I heard it. Yeah. It's his kid. Now, I understand he went extreme, but to the point where it's like his kid, it's not really child abuse, even though you have the scars and all that stuff, and everyone's overhyped. It's like, oh my God, Adrian Peterson beat his kid and all this stuff. It's like, look, it's his kid. He disciplined the way he wants to discipline. Now, if we're going to talk about how we discipline children and all that stuff, fine. That's what I'm fully defending.
Yeah.
For him to be suspended or deactivated, and this is the total PR nonsense that the NFL really didn't need to go to. I
don't think it's the NFL. I actually have a theory on the suspension and this whole thing that's happening.
All right.
This is all perpetrated by one Jerry Jones. Listen to my law. Follow me.
All right.
This is a case that was already brought up to a grand jury and dropped.
Right.
True?
True.
It was brought up again this year after Jerry Jones got a warning, a slap on the wrist, for tampering with Adrian Peterson. You remember the phone call he made where Adrian Peterson said, yeah, I'd love to be a Dallas Cowboy. That happened in the beginning of the season.
Right.
So this case is brought up. He gets deactivated. And the Vikings, they're losing money left and right. Radisson, blah, blah, blah. There's blurbs coming out now saying he may never go back to the Vikings. They might, if he's found guilty, they might have to just get rid of him forever. Nike's pulled all their stuff in Minnesota, all that stuff, all those AP jerseys. So he has one foot out of the door in Minnesota. So out of all this, who has the most to gain? Jerry Jones. Boom. That happened.
Things that make you go,
Boom.
And actually, if you think about this in the bigger picture, especially for the Vikings, they're already building their new stadium. And last I checked, some of the posters that highly features not just, the Vikings of the past, but also the Vikings of the present. And one of those presidents is Adrian Peterson. Mm-hmm. And losing a guy like him in this particular point in time, as you're digging out the ground for it, it's kind of like embarrassing for that team.
But at the same time, those shovels cost money, and you're losing sponsors. So I'm just saying, Jerry Jones.
We need to bring you back. You're like TMZ.
I'm saying.
Every sports radio show needs a TMZ type of person to really dig into deep dirt.
Boom, I'm in there.
Yes,
like swimwear.
Okay, further along, where does the NFL go with this though? Because I just feel like besides it's a good theory,
honestly,
but I just don't think that. It's like it is getting uglier by the week.
What did they think was going to happen? I mean, the funny thing that gets me about this whole thing is they're surprised that people that are paid to be violent for a living are violent. Mm-hmm. Where's the surprise there? I mean, oh my God, the football players, they hit people. Really? What did they pay to do? What did they train to do from high school? Mm-hmm. These people are the creme de la creme, the most talented. They've been, all their little miscues have been brushed aside ever since they were probably in the 7th grade.
Right.
They were able to do what they wanted, said what they wanted to do. I mean, said what they wanted to say, push people in lockers, do everything else, whatever they wanted to do at all times. Mm-hmm. And now they have the spotlight on them. So, I mean, what do they expect is going to happen? I mean, they're going to continue to do what they're doing. They're not going to change their behavior because the society's behavior has changed. Mm-hmm. So I think you're just going to have more and more of these cases pop up. You see the one about Brandon Marshall? They're trying to bring one from 2006. Really? That's reaching.
That's really reaching.
That's reaching. Like, wow.
I to be honest, I really maybe getting to the point where it's just have the quarterback guys and that's it.
And then you get that's excluding Big Ben.
Yeah.
Until they reinvestigate that. Jesus Christ.
Actually,
TMZ really is like that bad relationship. She's just going to keep bringing up everything that you did since you guys dated when you met in kindergarten.
Just now, I mean, the NFL is already at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. They're setting up their list of candidates for their 2015 induction. Yeah. And I'm always reminded of how there are certain individuals in that hall in in any sport, baseball, hockey, whatever. Yeah. There's always a dark past among these guys. Yeah. But it was a past that it's like, okay, as a fan, it's like, look, I'm just seeing that guy wearing my team's jersey for whatever X amount of years, and that's it. That's all I want to see. But then again, there's always that individual's like, but he did this.
No, that's what we need to go back into. I don't care about what these guys do in their personal life, honestly, and it sucks up too much important news time where I like to be hearing about real news. Yeah. Syria, Iran, Iraq, all the I's.
Yes.
Most of the S's and the A's. But I'm just saying, like, I don't care. Like, like you said in the beginning, it's a personal matter. What he did with his wife, what he did with his kid, whoever, his dog, if we want to bring back Bick, like whatever he did, that is his personal agenda. Let the NFL suspend them, do whatever they want to do with them. I just don't want to hear about it. I don't care. Mm-hmm. I mean, as far as this affecting me, the only thing that it affects is my fantasy numbers.
That's true.
That's all it affects. If you really think about it, how does this affect your day, if at all? Fantasy football. That's it. Like, so, I mean, they're making it like this is this huge issue, and it all started with, I think, Hollywood stars. Like, I don't care what Clint Eastwood does in his spare time. I don't care about Kim Kardashian shopping. I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, stop freaking spamming my timeline with this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need to give these people their own personal space. Because you know what, Brian? You're a good dude.
Right.
You're a great dude.
Thank you.
But I'm pretty sure if I were to shove a microscope up your rectum, I would find something. Stinky.
That's what Rex Stam keeps trying to do every time I'm on his show.
I'm just you guys see that? That's another. Keep that between y'all. I'm just saying, if you put the microscope on anybody, if you start peeling back paperwork and archive files and emails and stuff on anybody, you can find anything. Right. It just happens that football players, by and large, I'm not saying this, I'm not typecasting them, are a little slower than most. True. They get hit in the head for a living. They're just not catching on.
Right.
But if we were to go through, just like you said, the Hall of Fame, those busts, if we were to have like real life busts, some of those busts would have little white powder under their nose and cocaine. Some have panties sideways on the bus. Some of them have the wife next to it with a black eye. Right. Some have 13 little mini busts of all the children that they had while they were on the road. Wilt Chamberlain.
He will be bedpost.
Yeah. And then we talk about like Donald Sterling, talk about Magic Johnson. Do we remember how Magic Johnson got it? Like, I mean, I'm just saying, I don't care, but I mean, look at him now. Fat burger. Like, we get over stuff. Michael Jordan, compulsive gamble. Like, we didn't care back in the day.
Right.
And that's what we need to go back to. Your business is your business. We need to give that wall. So, I mean, as far as AP goes, Dwyer goes, hey, women, children, if they beat you, just get away from them. You probably leave a little something in your pocket anyway.
True. Half.
Yeah, half. Bounce.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and get off my timeline.
Okay. Well, hopefully we nip that in the bud, but by that time, the Falcons have scored again, and there will be another NFL person get indicted for something.
Exactly.
So, anyway.
Now, yeah, TMZ has the scent now.
That's the thing. That's what I feel. They open a can of worms and expecting us to say, don't worry about putting them back because this is all for you. It's like we're freeing them, and it's like, freeing what?
And I'm fine with that. Just don't clutter my timeline with it. I don't want to see it come from between Anderson Cooper's lips or Don Lemon's lips. Pause. Like, I'm just saying, that's not news to me. That NFL players are violent. Okay.
We get it.
That's like saying a boxer hit somebody. Okay. Where's the news there?
Yes. Well, there is news. Speaking of news.
Okay.
The Mayweather and Maidana fight.
You lying to me. That's not news.
Well, I saw it through the timeline. It was like the Twitter timeline, my Twitter, Brian 3SLs, that's my Twitter.
Yeah.
BTB Pics is my Instagram. I was reading the fact of it was, hey, Mayweather's doing his thing. He's leading in points. It was like, okay, was this fight watchable?
No, I watched it live.
Oh.
And honestly,
You want your time back?
I kept refilling my drink. That's pretty much what it was.
But it went the distance, didn't it?
It always goes the distance. Mayweather's not going to knock you out unless you're a woman.
Pause.
I mean, he might knock your cell phone out of your hand. Shots fired. But to be honest, the fight really was anticlimactic. What happened was it felt like Maidana tried to fight Mayweather's fight. The first fight, he fought his fight. Right. He threw Mayweather around. He was dirty. He was nasty. Did everything in the book to fluster Mayweather. And it worked for 3 rounds. This fight, he tried to fight Mayweather's fight, which is a more cerebral fight. And Maidana's not cerebral. He's a brute. And it was just unwatchable. Like it looked like 2 Mayweathers dancing around, but one was a way better Mayweather. Like it was like Pepsi and Coke. We know the real thing. like it was a really, really, really bad fight.
Damn.
Besides the bite.
The bite?
You don't know about the bite?
No, I didn't know about the bite. Tell us about
6th round. What was happening was Mayweather was trying to tire down Maidana. So every time they clinch up and go his arms around him, he'd take his glove and rub out his nose and his face to try to. Every boxer does it. This is a natural tactic. Well, Maidana got sick of it around the 6th round, and Mayweather's rubbing him out on the low. Pause, and Mayweather's hand accidentally ends up in Maidana. I'm doing those quotes things.
Yes.
Again. Accidentally ends up in Maidana's mouth, and you can clearly see the jaw bite down on Mayweather's glove. Mayweather gives out a holler. He bit me. He bit me. I've never, literally, he looked like a little girl tattling on the schoolyard. Right. But yeah, he bit him. Maidana, of course, denied until the end where they did the post-fight interview when he was like, "Oh, well, Mayweather thinks I'm a dog." So, and then inaudible Spanish, and the interpreter all of a sudden didn't know. Yeah, yeah, we know, we know, Montana, we know you bit him. I seen it, but yeah. So, other than that, I mean, Mayweather never really got close to being knocked down. Neither of them. Because, I mean, Mayweather's not going to knock anybody down. He's just going to, he does love taps just really fast. It was a bad fight.
Well, do you expect a third one?
No. Let me tell you the fights that need to happen. And this is me and my selfish ways. This is what I want to see in my heart of hearts. And I feel like this will be the top grossing fight lineup probably in the last 10 years. Undercard, Canelo Alvarez, Maidana.
Okay.
Love to see that fight. Like to get their weight up, because Mayweather makes everybody drop weight to fight him, and so they can't put the weight behind him and knock him out. Right. The last person that tried not to drop the weight was Canelo, and you seen what happened to him. Mayweather danced around him.
Right.
And then the top card, Mayweather Pacquiao. That would be a crazy fight right there. Mayweather Pacquiao, and then Maidana versus Canelo Alvarez. That would be an awesome fight.
Not gonna happen.
You don't think it's gonna happen? You don't think you'll ever fight Pacquiao?
No, because as many times Pacquiao has been like, "Hey, he's ready." Pacquiao is like, "Let's do this," even though he's been knocked out the last couple of fights he's been in. Yeah, but he's willing to fight him. Yeah. So, but I think it's more a sense of Mayweather has been avoiding Pacquiao.
But Pacquiao, the thing about it is Pacquiao's style, I think, would cause Mayweather some problems.
True,
because Pacquiao's power is Pacquiao's power. That's his weight. And that's where his power, that's his sweet spot. Like, you think of like the past fights that Mayweather has had, he's never had to really fight somebody in their sweet spot. He makes everybody come down to his sweet spot and fight. And I mean, what was Canelo like? Canelo fought at like 160, right? Or 150. Right there, and and Mayweather had him come down to 142. Same thing with Maidana. They make him come all the way down. Of course you're going to lose everything. I mean, your natural weight, you're going to feel thin. You're going to wear out faster. I mean, you can only shave so much sweat. You're going to start losing some muscle. You know what I'm saying? True. Like, but Pacquiao, that's his natural weight. I mean, Weiss, 142. That's an adult Filipino man. Okay. that's full grown right there. 142. That's their sweet spot. That's, he could probably eat Fat Burger with Magic Johnson if he wanted to and still make that 142.
See, I think that's the thing. I think everyone keeps, I think Mayweather and his people keep saying it's like, you're dealing with a guy who's just like you, but
more
powerful and everything. So it's like, do you really want to go there? Yeah. And I really think that let's be honest. Yeah. I really think he's scared. I really, I mean, you have the gold.
Scared or strategic?
You can call it. One can say strategic. I say it's like, look, put it up there. One time you said, yeah, let's do this, and next thing you pull out.
Let me tell you why it's strategic. Pause. Let me tell you why I think it's strategic. How much would a Mayweather fight matter if he fought, or Mayweather-Pacquiao fight matter, because he made the six fight deal with Showtime. What if the first fight was Mayweather-Pacquiao? Who would tune in to the next 5? Who would care?
Of course not. No one would care.
Exactly. So strategically, let me get these 5 new boys that I know I could whoop up on out the way. And then my big payday before my retirement is the Pacquiao fight. I mean,
okay, but everybody's been waiting for this fight. But how long should they wait for? Another year, another 2, another 3?
Everybody talks all that mess. Everybody always says that with the NBA lockout, with the NHL lockout, with the NFL, with the MLB lockout. Oh, if this not done by Friday, I'm never being a fan again. I'm burning everything I got. I'm done with it. They always say that, but you know what? They'd be the first one to be like, hey, man, about to order that fight. Come through. Bring a 6-pack. You know what I'm saying? Let's be real. If that fight happens, as disgruntled as you are, you going to sit down somewhere and watch it.
Of course.
Yes.
Because it's finally happening.
Exactly. And if I said, Brian, I'm like, man, that fight's happening, but you know what? It's $75 for the pay-per-view. You know what? I'm about $20 show. You gonna come up out that $20, Brian. You gonna come up out of it real quick too, because that's a good fight.
I'll put in the 20. Exactly. I'll bring in a bucket of chicken.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. People always talk that mess. They always talk that talk. But when it finally happens, when they're finally ready for it, they're like, oh my God, I'll do whatever it takes to get it. So, I mean.
Well, okay. That's the fan aspect.
Yes.
I'm looking at, let's look at the boxers aspect of how long. Because by that time, again, they're getting older.
No, it has to be September.
This September or next?
Well, this one's over. So
next.
It has to be next September because that's the last. That's literally, he said, I'm retiring after the September fight. He has 2 more fights left on the contract. So, I mean, that's how it goes. And the thing is, after Maidana, I mean, he could go for Garcia, which would be like, where do you go? Where does Mayweather go from here if he wants another $30 million check
or more?
More. It has to be Pacquiao, possibly Garcia. He's not gonna fight Cotto again. That wouldn't be smart because Cotto was the only one that had his number and almost gotten that. Yeah, and Cotto's on a groove. I don't think he wants no parts of Cotto. So where do you go? I mean, I think how it's going to work out because Pacquiao fights in November. God, I hope Pacquiao's on his A game. I hope the IRS being on his back makes him train extra hard because you know what? You get extra muscles when Uncle Sam's on your back. So I hope that he trains hard and he wins his fight. And then we get Mayweather versus Pacquiao either in May or next September. It has to happen. There's nobody else. He's not going to fight Canelo again because I think Canelo probably would get him this time.
Okay. So we have you on record by
next
September. May or next September.
Next September.
We'll have Pacquiao Mayweather.
Yes. Grand finale. Mayweather's leaving. It does. Or he might fight. It might happen in May because, that leaves open September for a rematch. Because he's take that L,
right? Which
I think he might take that loss. Because Pacquiao doesn't lose to soft punchers. You got to knock him out. Right. He's like that drunk guy charging you.
Right.
Yeah. He's like Officer Wilson's Story. Yeah.
Okay. But anyways, pound for pound cake. That's enough about boxing and beating up children and all that stuff. Anyway.
Yeah, man. You're really violent at the top end of the show, man.
Hey, this is No Filter Sports.
I'm just saying.
On WLLSradio.com.
Jeez.
We'll be right back. We're going to come back and talk about last week's refereeing. Not no football. It's the refereeing.
Who the players need to be hitting on.
That's a later show. So anyway, we'll come back after these. was Van Hagar.
Yeah.
No, that's Van Halen with Pound Cake in reference to all the boxing and
violence
that we talked about earlier here on No Filter Sports.
So the musical choices of No Filter Sports are echoing the world at large.
We're just explaining to people that it's not cool, it's not right to hit women, but
or little dudes that talk stuff at bars.
That's true. So we suggest you all to think.
They're just trying to get some loving too.
Yeah, just relax. Just count to 10.
Just let me look good.
Yes, just let them
let
play.
Me look good. You got money. You're a millionaire.
Right.
Just let me look good. Just let me get that one B word in. Just let me call you and spit a little tequila on you, and I just walk away. And I'm gonna say yeah. Go home to your big ass house.
And that's Tig from Open Mic Radio from O Mike B Show, 2 to 4 on Saturdays, which will be making its return live on October 4th.
October 4th.
Yes, so
Mike Brown, Michelle, sometimes. Holla at you.
All right. Before we get into our NFL picks, we always rewind back and talk about the previous week. Normally I would basically talk about, hey, this team did this team did that, they should have did this, they should have did that. No. Let's talk about the referee.
Okay.
Week 2. Last I remember, last year we had the good old scrub refs causing problems. And this year now, or sorry, a couple of years ago. But this year now, it's...
You were going to bring up the Seahawks, weren't you?
Yes, of course.
But you saw me sitting here
in
my war paint. And you didn't want to catch a Jonathan Dwyer.
No, I didn't. It's like, no, it's kind side. But now, I'm like, okay, the Thursday night game, I caught the... even though I did the show, the September 11th show with Open Heart and everything. And, I was able to see some highlights. And I saw the tackle that Courtney Upshaw did on Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh.
Clean hit. Next thing I'm seeing flags.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And then I was seeing, I'm a Ravens fan.
Yeah.
I'm not wearing my, black and purple today.
You're actually wearing Redskins colors right now.
Red and black?
Do you hear that, Baltimore? Brian is wearing Redskins colors.
Never. Daniel Snyder can go elsewhere.
Yeah, you know what? From this day forth, just in protest, I'm no longer going to call them the Redskins. I'm going to call them the Washington Football Team. From now on, that's what their name's going to be.
Okay, so you're representing for CBS now?
Hey, you know what? The Washington Football Team, it's terrible. Okay? The Washington Football Team with that quarterback who is also unnamed.
But our Jesus, as John the Gift likes to say. No Jesus, no peace.
Our Jesus could have healed himself. I bet our G3 wish he had a little Jesus. Jesus. Man, that guy is like, you know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of the Glass Man from Unbreakable.
Oh, yes.
Like,
Samuel Jackson.
Like, I'm going to get him a wheelchair in a comic book store. Just sit there and tempt.
Yes,
tempt.
Mr. Glass.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll get to RG Jesus later. But
like tempting RG.
Yeah.
He's tempting Adrian Peterson in his trench coat in the rain outside the stadium.
The whole thing is the referee representing, for the Steelers, it was getting ridiculous too, because there were some clean shots.
Yeah.
That was there. And then you go into the Eagles and Colts game on Monday night. And one big epic play that changed everything was the quote unquote horse.
Yeah, I did.
That happened. And I'm like, guy grabbed this jersey. And it was like, it was no horse collar anywhere. So, I mean, it's gotten to the point where it's this new, let's be sensitive.
Yeah.
Don't use the crown over your helmet. It's like, these are basic tackling tactics. In addition to, trust me, if you've seen any football game in the last 10 years, most of these guys, they're looking for that home run, ESPN highlight hit.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, they kind of tone it down. They try to be like basic tackling.
Yeah.
They're trying to bring it back. And somehow they're still getting called for that. So are we going into the world of tag football soon?
You mean flag football?
Flag, tag, whatever.
Flag football? I mean, I can see it. Either that or people are going to start tuning into the CFL to see the real hits. The Canadians are showing us up. Jesus, what has this world come to? But yeah, I mean, yeah, man, I seen both hits. I seen the horse collar, and on that one, you know, I give referee discretion on that one, just because of, you know, how it went down. You don't really know the difference. You don't know how far the ref was from it. You don't know what he was seeing. Maybe he got headbutted. Jonathan Dwyer joke. I mean, with the Ben Roethlisberger hit, that was pretty much just a spillover from all the years that we've been protecting Tom Brady,
any quarterback,
Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, because we don't touch. Yeah. So I mean, I just think at some point, Ben Roethlisberger, he plays on a terrible Steelers team. And when you play in a terrible team and you're the best player on the team, same thing with Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and all the all-star quarterbacks, the owners call you in. They slash your hand. Everybody else slashes their hand. They shake your hand, and you become made. And you are from that day on untouchable.
And that's how the quarterback club got founded, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, is there a better explanation for it? I mean, that's just what it is. Like, certain quarterbacks, they get to a certain point and they just are made. They can't be touched. RG3's not in that club. Michael Vick, not in that club. Geno Smith, not in that club. Carson Palmer, poor Carson. I'm just saying, like, certain quarterbacks can be driven into the ground, boots to the back of their necks and spit on with expletives, racist and sexist expletives thrown their way. Pause. And it doesn't matter. The refs will let them get away with it. Like, how many times have you watched an Eagles game when Michael Vick played for him? You're like, oh my God, did you see what they did to him after the play? Did you see how they knocked it? That would never go down with Tom Brady.
True. That's true.
Do you know why? Because before the season started, Tom Brady went up to the owner's meeting. He slashed his hand. The owner slashed their hand. They shook hands, and Tom Brady was made. Made man.
Okay. Do you think that your boy, Russell Wilson,
is made?
I
think Russell Wilson is half made.
How so?
Oh,
I know.
I think the defensive linemen know that line to cross. Like, I think they know, like, you know, we could hit his black side, but the white side of him, we got to be careful. So we could drive our left shoulder into him, but we have to gently raise his right leg. So, I mean, I think Russell Wilson is half
made.
Yes.
Okay.
That, and I mean, going in with all this stuff going on, I mean, he's the wholesome face of the league. If you see his tweets, it's all like Bible verses. He stays at children's hospitals. Like, I mean,
so did Adrian Peterson.
What was he doing at the hospitals?
I mean, before all this drama, it was like he's at the children's hospital.
All right, little Timmy, better stop coughing. Go outside and make you pick your switch. Like, I'm just like, man, I think there's a protected class in the NFL,
which is sad.
Yes.
I think, I know it's only been 2 weeks and everything, but I just feel like, okay, this is not the football play. You can tell has changed.
Yeah,
it's not as aggressive.
Yeah,
it's they're, even when the receiver and cornerbacks or secondary, it's understandable 5 yards, then you can try to let them go and all that stuff. But usually you do see the little fighting for the ball and all that stuff, and that was allowed. Now that's instant pass interference.
Okay, but what's more exciting? A 72-yard touchdown pass or a 72-yard pass that gets knocked to the ground?
Either one, because there's either a good catch, a great catch, or a great defensive play. It depends on how it.
I mean, technically speaking, they both end in a dance, but
true.
But I mean, I'd rather see the touchdown pass, and most people would. I think people don't respect defense anymore.
I don't think the NFL respects defense anymore.
Yeah,
because they're looking at, well, we need more money, more touchdowns.
Yeah,
and that's where I think is lost.
And that's why we're gonna go to the CFL. Saskatchewan Roughriders tickets are going through the roof right now. I want to see the Montreal Alouettes and the Vancouver or the BC Lions.
Yes, BC Lions.
But that's where we're going.
I wish the NFL has to that's why I feel like this is some bad. I mean, I know there's the competition committee.
Yeah,
and even they kind of feel like, okay, they always debate every year about bringing in certain things, taking out some certain things to make, again, one, I understand the safety that I can understand, but then again, it's like, okay, can we have legit football though?
What happens is, when this kind of stuff happens, when you see change within an organization, within a business, you can always source it back to one thing: money.
True.
What happened over the last what was it? What was that? That lawsuit filed, the concussion lawsuit, and they had to pay out a huge payout. And all of a sudden, we see all these new, don't touch them there, don't do that, don't do that. They're saying, hey, don't go in my pocket there, don't steal my checkbook, don't take my credit cards. They are tired of losing money to people coming back to them saying that you didn't protect us properly. And that, it's cause and effect. Because you didn't see all this stuff before people started suing. So, we can blame the NFL all we want, but they're just protecting their business.
I understand the business. I understand protecting the business. But if your business is prevention of injury, or is it?
No, it's protection of assets.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, they don't care about the end. Clearly, we had 30, 40, 50 years of regular drag-out football where afterwards a dude is 36 years old and can't pick up his own kid.
Right.
So they didn't care about that. But when you start hitting their pockets, when they figured out, hey, we can lose a case, that's when you see change. Just like anything else. Always follow the money.
I know it's about money. It's always been about money.
It's all about the money.
But I think if the NFL... I think the NFL will lose more if they start seeing that, even when the fan base, it's one thing, the fan base, as of right now, they'll say they'll stay strong, stay loyal and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But when they start seeing that huge drastic change when football isn't football anymore, and I think that's coming soon. It is coming.
For us dinosaurs. But for the new generation, if you grew up on LeBron, he's the best thing out there. He's the best thing ever. If I go up to a 15-year-old right now and say, yo, Jordan in his day would have spanked LeBron. Kobe would have spanked LeBron. He'll look at me like I'm crazy. You only know what you see. And a 13, 14, 15-year-old right now, if that's the version of football they know, that's the version of football they know. And that's just what it is. You only know what you're taught. We seen football. Through the 80s, 90s for me. We know what a hard hit looks like.
Right.
My God, it's funny. I was talking to my wife about this last night. I would like to go back and, if possible, and think about if they had concussion protocols and checked like the midgets and the peewee football players for concussions back in the day. Because I know for a fact, high school, peewee, there were concussions had.
Right.
And nobody knew about it. Nobody even knew what a concussion was. It was just, hey, get back on the field.
Yeah.
Like I went and dug up my dad's old football helmet from when he was in high school in the 70s. The inside of that helmet, the only thing that protected it was like two straps that like go across Nikes. Like through like not hard straps, not nothing like if you were to take 4 shoelaces, tie them together and put them across the top of the helmet, And then after that, you have hard plastic. You hit the ground, boy, you hit the ground. So, I mean, that's football. But those growing up now, they got the little water things in their helmets and
pump it up,
pumps and all that stuff. I mean, but if it's all you know, it's all you know.
When I was playing football.
Yeah.
I had those type of helmets. I had those helmets where they had the, I wouldn't say styrofoam. Yeah, they were kind of like very styrofoamish padding.
Yeah.
So, but it was protected for kids.
Yeah.
So, and it wasn't that, it did what it needed to do. And then, a couple of years later, I started getting, the equipment improved and everything, and I start getting more the professional grade type of protection. So I never got a concussion.
I think you probably did. You know what they just called it something else.
No. Well, no, personally, yeah. Throughout I played football for up till junior high.
Brian, they just called it something else.
Yeah, they called it something else.
You know what they called it?
What?
You just got your bell rung.
Actually, true. But actually, I gave those people those bell rungs.
In other words, concussion.
So, but I just think that, now the NFL, I understand where the NFL is going. Yeah. But then again, it's like, okay, you won't give us our, throwback uniforms anymore in its proper form. Mm-hmm. Again, because you don't want to spend money to give everyone the proper helmets to wear. Mm-hmm. You want to make sure that everyone's doing the right, making sure that it's the right hits and all that stuff, but it's causing the games to change, and it's really and you hear it through the announcers. The announcers saying these type of games, if this was like down to the wire in the playoffs, either A, they'll allow it, mm-hmm. or B, they'll start throwing flags. If they start throwing flags, and especially either by the conference championships or the Super Bowl, that's going to be some problems.
The NFL is the number one league the number one league in the United States. Let me correct that. I was going to say the world. It's not.
No. Soccer.
Or Formula One, I thought it was.
I think soccer taking over because...
Think over Formula One? Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. The number one league in the United States. The number one watch sport in the United States is football. Mm-hmm. Period. ... I think the advertisers don't care about what's happening on the field. They don't care about the refereeing. They care about the eyeballs on the game. Mm-hmm. And do you know how happy you will be after next summer, after you've seen the NBA Finals, mm-hmm. after the Stanley Cup, mm-hmm. if there's some kind of summer thing that you're going to make yourself mm-hmm. watch because you're craving sports so much, and that next August comes around, you're going to be like, oh my God, football's back. Mm-hmm. You're going to watch it anyway because it's all you got. No matter how it looks, no matter what kind of pink ribbon they put on top of Ben Roethlisberger's head, I'm just saying that's just how it's going to be.
All right. Yeah. Well, we're going to take a little break and talk about this week's coming games. But before we do that, I have a question for you.
For me?
For me. You. Not for me, for you. And I posted this out there on my Instagram at BTB Picks. Mm-hmm. And a few people answered, and I'll relay those answers if they got it correct or not. And even though you supporting the football gear right now, but the Major League postseason is coming, mm-hmm. and we already got 3 teams in the MLB playoffs: the Angels, the Orioles, and the Nationals, and hopefully the NL West and AL Central and the NL Central will get their act together before the season end. Mm-hmm. But anyway, the question is this, and it's about the World Series.
This is a setup.
Yes, of course.
He knew a black guy was coming, so yeah, I was going to ask him a baseball question.
Yes. Uh-huh. Okay. The World Series began in 1903. We've had this is 111 years mm-hmm. of the Fall Classic, but there were a few years where it never had the World Series.
Yes.
So if during the break, I'll let you think. Okay. And I want to know which year or years mm-hmm. did the World Series never happen mm-hmm. and why it did not happen.
Okay.
All right. Let's think about that.
Okay.
And at this moment, while Tig is thinking about this, we're going to take a breath. Take a nice, simple breath.
All right.
This is not the Rex Samley show. I'm not going to ruin a classic like that. This is No Filter Sports.
You know what?
What?
I'll go ahead and ruin it. Every breath you take, every move you make,
Okay.
every switch you pick, every headbutt kick, I'll be watching you.
All right, that is Tig from Old Mike B Show, Open Mic Radio, and they will be back October 4th here on WLLSradio.com.
Yes.
Saturday, October 4th from 2 to 4.
Yes, we will.
And Tig, I left you a question.
You did.
Yes, I did.
You
before
did.
we went on break. And here's the question again.
Oh, God.
Since we're in the midst of Major League Baseball postseason, the question is this. Mm-hmm. Since 1903, the World Series was created then, but there were a few times we didn't have a series. Mm-hmm. Which year or years were there when there was no, and what was the reasons why we didn't have one?
Okay. Now, I haven't watched baseball since Ken Griffey.
Damn. So
I'm a serious homer. So if my team's not good, I don't want to watch your sport. So
great loyalty.
So I tuned in 96 to 98, in 2001, and never again.
That 118 win season?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
Damn.
Okay.
That was a crusher.
You see, I remember that right off the top of my head. But your question, yeah, right. I'm going to say 94 for the lockout. I'm going to say both times were lockouts or I'm going to say they were lockouts or slave rebellions. Yeah. So that's my answer. 1994 or either 94, 96 or 95. It was somewhere in there for the lockout. And that's my answer.
Okay, so
I could have gave it a Google, but I didn't.
No, you got the legit. All right, I'll give some other one other person. Mama Kay. She knows who she is. She gave lack of interest. She didn't give a year, but she felt like lack of interest was her answer. Reason why there was no World Series. You got 1 year correct.
I did.
I'll give you the 1994, and the reason was because of the strike/lockout. But surprisingly enough, the other year was the supposed second year it was supposed to have, 1904.
Slave rebellion.
Actually, no. It was surprising enough. DC Hammer 44 and Mike Camilo got this answer correct of 1904 and 1994. The 1904 was interesting because both American and National League had an agreement to face each other in the 1904 quote unquote World Series.
Was that before integration?
Yes.
You see that? See that? Yeah, that was your problem right there. I'm like Richard Pryor, man. I don't want to watch anything without black people in it.
Well, this is before black people. Actually, here's the thing. Here's the funny thing. The funny story.
Black people.
The funny story was that the Giants didn't need. There was the New York Giants was the National League champions, and the Boston Americans. They were formerly that was the Boston Red Sox before they were known.
Yeah.
The Giants won their league already. Well, like they had like a 20 game, game ahead during their time.
Yeah.
The Americans were still having to deal with the New York Highlanders, aka the New York Yankees, and it got down to pretty much the last game of the season for them to clinch the American League. So the New York Giants ownership felt like, well, we already had this packed up and ready to go, but you guys are just dilly-dallying, so we out.
They were farming.
So pretty much, yeah, the reason why there was no 1904 series because the New York Giants decided to say, hey, we are already the world champions because we have a better record and we won our division league first. So screw y'all. Deuces.
They were preparing for the arrival of the Nightwalkers.
Yes. So, but we end up, and then the American League and the National League decided to talk again and decided from this point on, from 1905 on, we would have a World Series, except until 1994. And here's a side note. Side note. Guess who was leading the league? Who had the best team record in the league at that time?
I'm gonna say the I'm going to say the Lannisters.
Not quite.
Led by Tywin.
Okay, you can use your Google now. Anyway, surprisingly enough, 1994, the team with the best record at the time was your now known Washington Nationals, who were then known as the Montreal Expos. Ouch. And if the Montreal Expos had the opportunity to get into the World Series, guess what, folks? The Washington Nationals would never have existed.
No, because remember they were about 2 years off, weren't they? They are about they were just getting good, and then when they moved down, they got good right as they came from being the Expos. Like
no. They at this point in time, the 1994, they were 74-40.
The Montreal Expos.
In 1994, they had the best record. Pretty much, they were about to have like 100 plus win season, and then once the strike hit, from that point on, everything
that's
went
what
downhill.
it was. Yeah, it was the strike that messed up the Expos.
So thank you, strike. Anyway, let's get back to football.
Let's get there.
Yeah, but this time it's about real football.
Yes.
Well, hopefully real football. Hopefully we don't get that crazy mess like we had this past week. We will get some actual games that looks
like
interesting.
This Thursday night game.
Yeah. How's that going anyway?
Dude, let's just stop. I mean,
just pause.
There's gonna, at some point TMZ is going to report domestic violence is going on at the Georgia Dome. And it just hit my Twitter feed.
Oh, Jesus. So anyway, we'll get back to the Falcons and Buccaneers game if you just finally decided to listen to us here on WLLS Radio.
Or the 35-0 at halftime.
It's finally at the half. Okay. Yeah. Hope you're listening to us. We're going to talk about the rest of the week 3 games. First off, we kind of teased on it. Skins against the Eagles. We have a RG list, 3 lists, Redskins this time, and they're going against a very hot Eagles team. The Redskins, it's one thing to see them against the Texans, where they could have won, but they were just, I don't know what the hell they were doing. The Jaguars, they just pretty much dominate because the Jaguars are just straight up bad anyway.
Yeah.
But now they're finally facing a legit team that everyone is fully seeing as they are the legit NFC East division contenders.
Which is not really saying a lot.
True.
Yeah.
So I don't see the Skins' chances of winning this at all. How do you see them?
I see the first half, the Eagles playing down to their competition. And then the second half, them blowing them out of the water. The thing, you know what? The Eagles actually, if the Eagles can figure out how to get their defense going, they're a very, very, I would dare to venture and say that they're a Super Bowl contender coming out of the NFC.
Right.
Not over my Seahawks, though. They lose to the 12th man.
Flag on the play.
Yes. I'm just saying, I mean, and that's scary, especially coming out of that division where it's so easy to win the division and get home field advantage. I mean, you got the Jerry Joneses, you got the Washington football team. I mean, and then who else is in that division?
That team that's supposed to be big, but they're not, the Giants.
The Giant, yeah, that's Jesus. Let's not go there. That ship has sailed. Tom Coughlin needs a nice pina colada. I'm just saying. But for that game, Eagles Skins, I got Eagles. We're gonna go scores. You want to go scores?
If you want, we can go there.
Eagles, 41-15.
I want
41-14.
14. I would say Eagles win 30-6. I don't think their Skins will get anywhere, no touchdowns whatsoever. I think Cousins, he's a good, closer or relief guy.
Yeah.
And he'll give that momentum and his energy. But when he starts horribly.
Yeah, but so does Nick Foles.
And
that Redskins, the reason I say is I see a turnover for the Eagles. I'm using my crystal football. I see a turnover for the Eagles because that defensive line for the Redskins are hype. They just came off the best games of their lives and they want to do it again. They've tasted victory.
We defeated the Jaguars.
So they're coming in on a high. I mean, they're Alabama after playing Appalachia State.
Yes.
Like they're hype.
Yes.
They're hype right now. So that's the only reason I say it'll be competitive around the first half, and then the true colors will come out. Yeah.
All right. Next game is Chargers-Bills, which you talk about a team that's coming off a hype. Is both these teams. One, the Bills 2-0 for the first time in a long time. And the Chargers beating your defending champions.
Let me just say, we beat ourselves. We literally beat ourselves.
That's a typical fan cop out.
No, we beat ourselves, and I can name the plays. We beat ourselves, but I give them. You know what? I always think that a loss builds character, and I think we needed this. I think the Seahawks came in a little high, like because they had Appalachia State, aka the Green Bay Packers. Their first game at home, they had Pharrell outside. Right. They were singing happy. They were happy. Aaron Rodgers wasn't happy. Eddie Lacy had a concussion. I think that they came in a little high coming into San Diego. I think they took them for granted. And historically, we don't play well on the road. I'm glad it was a non-division game. And we're talking about the Seahawks now, aren't we? We're supposed to be talking about the Bills and Chargers.
Right.
Okay. You made it about Seattle. I just want to take it to you. Chargers, Bills. Let me see. I have the Bills winning this game. It's a home game. The Bills play great up there. The Chargers are they played in 120-degree temperatures, and it didn't get any cooler in San Diego. And that temperature change, the time change, I think it's all going to affect the Chargers. I think Phillip Rivers is going to get frustrated. I think the Bills are going to win in a really quirky game. I think it's going to be like 24 to like 18 or something, some odd score, something quirky. But the Bills are going to win. And then we're going to say, oh, those are the same old Chargers. They just can't keep it going.
I think the Chargers will beat the Bills. The reason being is, mind you, I think the Bills are coming off 2 good wins.
Yeah.
But the Chargers, I think they're the type of team that needs a momentum push, and beating the Seahawks was a great momentum push. And I just feel like especially for Phillip Rivers. So because really he has some decent weapons, but it's not something to I would say, hey, I got, mind you had an all-pro tight end, but, do you have everyone else to help you out? Not really. But I really think you're facing the Bills. I think the one thing that stops the Chargers is themselves, like you say about the Seahawks losing their game because of themselves. Yeah. Chargers do that a lot too, and that's how they lost to the Cardinals.
That's the Chargers' MO, though.
Right, I understand it, but
they beat all the good teams and they lose to all the games.
But I think now they have to realize now that they're facing a team that's they're trying to be on the come up, and the Bills are a beatable team, but they just they're a good veteran team. Phil Rivers got to be the veteran that he is and try to help push this team to get over the hop. I really think it'll be tight. I think it'll be 2017 Chargers.
2017 Chargers. Okay.
So. Next, let's go into the Vikings and the Aints, because they ain't winning. So, which is kind of weird. They're 0-2, and they're scoring points.
That's because they've been on the road. So the Vikings are in trouble here. Let me tell you why. One, AP, no. And they're playing the Saints at home. The Saints just win at home. Their defense plays better at home. It's something crazy in the water and in the bayou. Something. The Saints always play better at home. I think this is going to be an even worse blowout than what the Patriots did to them. It's going to be a bloodbath in the bayou.
I said that last week with the Saints against the Browns, and I got the Browns just came out of nowhere. Pretty much the Saints were like the Browns' pants, brown. Yeah. Just ugly, shitty, crappy. It was like, what the hell are you guys doing? You can't even beat this team?
No. So the Browns aren't the Browns anymore, though.
True. They're not that your second cousin's Uncle Browns. No. Yeah. So which is a good thing for them. So, but I'm Going for the Saints again. I agree. It will be a blowout.
Yeah.
Now, this will be interesting. This could be for the NFC North title, Packers-Lions. Who you got?
I'm going to take... It's in Detroit. I'm going to take the Lions. And it's going to be a shootout. I don't think Eddie Lacy's quite right. The Packers don't seem quite right. Like they seem like they're missing something, but I just don't know. They have everybody. It's just something missing there. The Lions play great at home. They have a great home crowd. I got the Lions. I don't see anybody that's guarding Megatron. The Packers, I know when they played the Seahawks, always had trouble with Golden Tate. Reggie Bush is, I mean, I see, let me see, score wise, I see it's going to be a tight one. I say, man, 28-24. 28-24 Lions at home.
I'm going to say the Lions, but I'm saying 35-17 because there is something wrong with the Packers. I don't think they don't know what's going wrong because everyone's saying, oh, we got Aaron Rodgers. It was like, okay, you have Aaron Rodgers, but there's something wrong with that defense.
Yeah.
There's something missing in the offense because, Aaron is back, quote unquote, back, but there is something amiss there. The Lions, I think they need to bounce back after that bad loss to the Panthers.
Yeah.
So I just think that this team against a divisional foe is something that they need, and I think they're going to say, hey, we're going to take this division. And I said the Lions can win the NFC North, and they have to do it by beating the Packers first. So Cardinals, Niners, and the Niners lost a big one. I had them beating the Bears, and the next thing you know, you talk about beating themselves. The Niners sure showed it.
2 crippled receivers, Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey weren't even at full speed, and that's a, you know what? I think, and I'm gonna say this, I think that the Niners are on the decline. That's not because I'm a Seahawks fan.
Thank you.
I think the Niners are on the decline. I think Colin Kaepernick has hit his peak. I think he peaked out. I think Frank Gore isn't as effective as he's effective against bad defenses.
True,
but he's not that effective against a really, really good defense. I think that defense is in shambles mostly due to court cases. I mean, so I think the Cardinals game is going to be closer than people think.
Right.
Was it in San Francisco or is it in...
No, it's in Arizona.
That's another thing. Arizona turns up when they play in Arizona. There's something about that University of Phoenix field that gives them the sauce. So, I think I'm going to say it's going to be a low-scoring game because both teams seem to have issues with that. I think it's going to be 16-9.
Okay.
Cardinals.
With Vernon Davis probably out. Again, like I said, Kaepernick is
a liability.
I mean, and you also have to question that defense. It's like, how do you give up a 17-3 lead?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
That's not 49ers.
Yes. No. So usually the Niners would start behind, then catch up and take over.
Yeah. This
was in reverse.
Yeah.
And I said this early, in like a couple weeks ago, I said, there's something wrong with this team. It's you can talk about the off-field stuff if you want, but I really think that the Niners aren't the Niners like everyone thought for the last 3 years.
I think they've peaked out.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with the Cards. I say it'll be 24-21. I think it'll be some good scoring here. It will be a battle.
Last second stuff.
Gotcha. So, speaking of last second stuff, the last game of the night we're talking about is the rematch.
But not the least.
of Super Bowl 48. Broncos, Seahawks. Broncos 2-0, Seahawks 1-1. But
I don't like how you looked at me when you said 1-1. Like I feel like you were projecting that one in the loss column more so than you were projecting the one in the win column.
I feel that one because I picked them to win and I get a loss.
Okay.
The Legion of Doom was supposed to do something.
I'm just saying, Legion of Boom
Doom.
won. You Baltimore. You're a Baltimore fan, right?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Ray, come back. We need you, buddy. The Super Bowl rematch is going to be a repeat of the Super Bowl. It's going to be a blowout. It's going to be a bloodbath. And I'm not saying that as a Seahawks fan. Denver peaked out, and I see it in them. Kansas City wasn't looking good in the first game. Kansas City looked terrible in the second game when they played Denver, and they almost won that game.
Right.
The first game, they almost let the team come back. That was the who they played week 1.
Who, the Broncos?
Yeah, Broncos.
The Colts.
Colts. The Colts almost came back in that game too. I don't think they're ready. I think, and with Seattle coming off a loss, going home, bloodbath. I think there's something that Pete Carroll does with that defense that flusters, and then you got Monte Ball as your decoy for a run game. I'm putting those bunny ears in the air. Run game. We got Wes Welker coming back halfway because he's been on his couch for the last few weeks. And Emmanuel, who's that? Their slot receiver, Emmanuel Sanders? No, it's not Emmanuel.
Yeah. Is it Thomas?
No, the slot receiver that plays Wes Welker's position. That's Emmanuel Sanders. Yeah, he's not that effective. He hasn't been Wes Welker. So I think the only thing that we really have to worry about, you think about weapons-wise, Demaryius Thomas, because what's his name? It's on the other side. Eric Decker's not on the other side anymore. Demaryius Thomas, Julius Thomas. If we could zero in on the Thomases, what else do we have to do?
Just go after quarterback.
That's it. But don't touch him because you know why? Because what he did was in the off season, he went up to the headquarters and he cut his hand. And then the owners cut their hand, and then they shook hands, and Peyton Manning became made.
Okay.
So I have the Seahawks. It's going to be 42 to 16.
Okay. I think the Seahawks will win. On this point. Broncos, this is their first road game.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning hasn't been in Seattle in a while, even as a Bronco. So, and this will be interesting for him. Because one thing to have that nice, mile high support.
Yeah.
For the last few weeks. But going into a visitor's place is one thing. But when you go into this place, that's a whole nother element.
Yeah.
And I really think that it's going to be tough for him.
Yeah.
I would say they'll at least get one touchdown like they did in the Super Bowl. But the Seahawks, I think they're going to dominate, but they'll dominate defensive-wise, not offensive-wise. I think it will be 24-10.
24-10.
24-10 Seahawks.
Okay. That's Super Bowl champion Seahawks. Yeah. You don't say Obama, okay? We have a title. Use it, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, you don't call your college professor Greg, okay?
We call what? Coach Manning?
No, it's Professor Randall, okay? College professor, he earned that title. Okay.
Okay.
World champion.
Seattle Seahawks will beat the AFC champions. Defending.
You don't
AFC
have to say their title. It doesn't count. It doesn't count unless
they
you
don't
win it all.
count?
It doesn't count. They're just the Broncos.
Okay. So when the Ravens, we should be acknowledged as 2-time Super Bowl champions then.
No.
Why not?
It only lasts for the current year. You only called that. There's not like the presidency. I mean,
if you're watching wrestling, you say he's a 15-time world champion, Ric Flair. You hear that a lot.
I'll accept the old champions.
Well, the Ravens an old champion.
Yeah, the previous champions from years ago.
It was just 2 years ago.
Okay, the champions from 2 years ago, Ravens. If you feel like saying that every time, feel free.
Well, I hopefully soon we'll say 3-time world champion.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Oh, it's gonna happen.
I think the Browns are gonna win the division.
We'll see with those ugly brown pants. Anyway, Tig, thank you for coming here on No Filter Sports.
No problem, man. Glad to be here.
Yes, so hopefully if you see the Hope Solo sign, you're welcome to come in anytime.
Oh, man.
And I think I opened a big door for that one. No pause there.
No pause.
Anyway, Tig, where can they hear you, see you?
October 4th, we'll be back, man. Open Mic Radio. Saturday, October 4th. Also, we'll be at the DC Arts Center, October 19th, 7:30 p.m. Don't try to buy tickets. They're already sold out. DVD taping, Life and Times of Old Mike B is going down. Thank you for having me, sir.
No problem.
Also, hold on.
Yes.
Also, you can catch me on Twitter. You can catch me on Twitter at RealTig, RealTigg. Same thing on Instagram. Holla at me.
Cool. All right, this is No Filter Sports here. You can follow me on Twitter at Brian3SL. It's Brian at BRYAN 3SL. And BTB Pics is my Instagram, BPIX. This has been fun. This has been interesting, been entertaining, and heartfelt with a lot of hits and a lot of misses and a lot of comedy. So,
yes, sir.
So anyway, when we come back next week, we'll talk about baseball.
Baseball.
Yes, finally we can talk about some baseball. It's been a while. So I missed baseball talk. So anyway, we'll get you set up for that as well as for the upcoming postseason. So hope you all come back for that. Until the meantime, I want you all to remember this, to always be good to yourself.